Hello and welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel, guys, to each and every one of you, because yes, we are still on a high after beating Bayern and following it up against Real Madrid in the perfect week. And today we've got yet more reaction, especially to the Clasico on Saturday, what we saw right there, some of the key moments from the game, again looking at the tactical side, but we have to talk more about Hansi Flick. Yes, more about that man. We're going to be talking about the messages that he sent his team both during and also after the win against Real Madrid. And as well, guys, there's more good news. The good news simply does not stop, because we're going to be talking about the potential return of Ronald Araujo. It is all on the way for you. I hope you've got a smile on your face. Let's do this. Because I do want to start, guys, by saying a very, very big thank you to all of these super thanks coming in on the channel. It's been absolutely incredible here. Sander says, is it too early to start dreaming? It's never too early, especially when Barca are playing like this. We have an absolutely fantastic donation from Dr. Rizmati from South Africa. Really, really appreciate that there. We are back. And from Stanislav here, who says, has Mbappe arrived at Real Madrid, or is he still offside? These are the important questions that we're all wondering right now. But hey guys, if we actually start here by looking at what we've achieved in October, we're actually getting towards the end of the month now, so let's look at what started first of all with a huge victory over Young Boys, 5-0 there. Then we followed that up with a really important away win at Alaves, wrapped that up in the first half, 3-0, and then of course don't forget, we came back from the international break straight away with Sevilla, and then knowing that Bayern and Real Madrid followed, and yet we just swept aside all of those teams. 5-1 against Sevilla, 4-1 against Bayern, 4-0 against Real Madrid. This is a historic month. It might be spooky season, but not for us. And that's the thing right now, guys. It's not just about the results that you see there. It's also about the way that we have done it, the way that we have achieved these victories. And let's talk about the fact here that against Bayern, Barca fielded 9 La Masia products in that game. And against Real Madrid, it was 8. It is absolutely unbelievable, yet again, what La Masia is doing, what it's been able here to provide us with in the first team. And as we always say, it never fails. Whenever you need La Masia, whenever you actually put your trust in it, it is always, always there. And also what it means, guys, is these victories mean more. What we are doing right now, what we've been able to achieve with this core group in our squad who've worked their way through the system. They've been dreaming of moments like these, playing in a Clasico, winning a Clasico, but even they could never have imagined they dismantled them in the way they did on Saturday at such a young age. Many of them, what they are doing, it is absolutely extraordinary, and long live La Masia. And I also want to check this out right here, guys, because this is the Barca pass map from Saturday's game against Real Madrid. And what you will notice there is that both Rafinha and Lamine Yamal, as we spoke about yesterday, they wanted to get into more central areas there. They wanted to really flood the middle of the field there where Real Madrid could not handle us. And what that saw then was Balde more advanced down the left-hand side. Koundé on the night was the more withdrawn full-back of the two. But what you will also notice there, guys, and what we have to really shout from the rooftops here, is how influential Pedri was on this game. And as he has been in every single Hansi Flick game so far, him and Casado there running things in midfield, and Pedri so important for that progression up the field there, making our way through teams, finding those pockets of space between the lines. It is an absolutely perfect setup from Flick, and what you'll see as well is that even the shape there from Barca, it's in the shape of a heart. However though, guys, there was certainly no love lost between two of these players on Saturday there, Gavi and Vinicius, going head to head, and the two of them did have a bit of a coming together. Gavi then proceeded to hold up 4 fingers, and I personally think that was a really kind and thoughtful thing to do. You know, Vinicius might have lost count about how many goals that Real Madrid had conceded, so Gavi there just reminding him, it is 4 by the way. But then apparently, according to the media, Vinicius actually replied there to Gavi and said, yes, But on Monday, I'm going for the Ballon d'Or. And I thought that was a really interesting quote, actually. And not only because he's not actually going. Vinicius found out that he wasn't going to win the award, and Real Madrid said, none of us are going. We're going to throw all of our toys out the pram. But even aside from that, which is funny, I think that kind of quote from Vinicius, it actually perfectly illustrates what we saw out there on Saturday. Barca are all together, all pulling in the same direction, all understanding their roles. They work for each other, they run for each other, and they also protect each other. Real Madrid, in complete contrast to that, they look like a team of individuals. They look like a team there that certainly had their own interest in their mind. They weren't really working as a unit all together. You saw that as well in the back line. It was disjointed at times at Real Madrid. And that Vinicius quote there, I think, really does illustrate some of those issues they are facing. But of course, guys, in that first half in particular, nobody can deny that Real Madrid, they were posing a threat. You know, the threat was there for Barca. We had to deal with it. But as we also spoke about yesterday, we did deal with it. We spoke there and said, look, although there's a feeling that Real Madrid, they're putting pressure on us there, the runs are going in behind, they're getting shots away at goal, the reality was, when you look at what wasn't actually offside, there wasn't a great deal happening. They were not able to actually create a lot. They were not able to breach that Barca high line. And it just got me thinking there, guys, do you think that we as Barca fans are still getting used to this style, especially in big games there? It was something that we haven't seen very often, Barca playing that aggressively in a big game. And is that the reason why maybe there was a bit more panic amongst Barca fans? Maybe it was a bit nerve-wracking to watch at times, because obviously we're not quite used to seeing this level of bravery in big games in recent years. Because what I would like to say is, although we as fans, we might have been nervous, we might have been panicking at times, who wasn't panicking? And who are the most important people who can't panic? The players. And never for a single second in that game, not the first half, not the second half, did they panic once. That back line, it was stoic. They did not bat an eyelid in any of those moments there. You felt as though they were in control. And I will take that all day long, even if it means we have to take a few risks here and there, even if it means at times it might be a bit nervy. Remember in past years, when in big games, we have collapsed as a team. We've had nothing to fall back on, and we've watched our team in big matches go to pieces. Panic, nerves, a feeling of dread, really. You saw it running through Barca players in the past. But now, we have a system. We have a clear plan, an identity here to build from. Every player buys into it, and there was not a single hint of panic against Real Madrid, or, don't forget as well, against Bayern. But with all of that said, guys, we do have to move on now to those messages that Hansi Flick has been sending out to his players. And speaking of that calmness, the way that it all stems from the coach, Hansi Flick leads by example. And let's talk here for a moment about referees, because it was actually a Barcelona player who picked up the first booking of the Clasico. It was Marc Casado who took down Vinicius there. It was in a dangerous area, you know, a counter-attack was lurking. Vinicius, of course, with all of that pace. At times, you've got to do what you have to do. And tactical fouls, they can also be a very important part of the game there. Understanding risk, and it was a good card to take at an important moment in the game. I've got no problem at all with that. But what I found staggering was that the referee, the same referee, did not deem this challenge from Tchouaméni to be a yellow. That is an absolutely horrific tackle there on Pedri, left him grounded, nothing at all given. I could not believe that wasn't a yellow, and it took the ref 80 minutes to even produce a card for Real Madrid. But here's the thing, because the referee won't change his mind. Nobody on the pitch there can change the outcome of the ref decision, which is why Hansi Flick has instructed all of his players since the start of the season, do not protest. Do not waste your time, your energy, your focus there on protesting to the referees. It is pointless. There's nothing that you can do. And the idea here is that Flick wants his players to give absolutely everything in what matters. He doesn't want them running and circling around the referee, picking up as well unnecessary cards. He wants them locked in. Let whatever happens happen and just get on with the game. And that is what we're seeing. The players are much more controlled in their emotions, I feel. That mirrors as well what we see on the sidelines with Hansi Flick. We haven't seen him getting involved in big arguments there with referees, which is important. Because like Flick has said before, referees, outside factors, we will not make excuses. Do our job and we don't need to think about it, which is very, very interesting, because then when you move on to after the game, the whole feeling within the dressing room, how proud Flick was of his players, and don't forget guys, straight after the game in the press conference he said, look, I've given the team 2 days off. And that is a big deal. You know, we've got to stress that here. Flick really doesn't like giving days off in terms of missing training there, missing that preparation work. So 2 days off for him, that is a very, very big deal. The players should count themselves lucky. But this is the thing, because in the dressing room after the game, during all of those celebrations, you might have seen their videos of it, the team chanting 3 days off over and over again. Really jubilant mood, of course, and they're chanting 3 days off. They wanted Flick to give them an extra one. They wanted him there to go to 3 instead of 2. But this kind of feels as though the kids are pushing their luck a bit. You know, they're trying to see what they can get out of their coach here. And you know what? Flick is not going to budge. Because even there when they got back to Barcelona, they kept asking him, and he said, everybody will be here on Wednesday. With a smile on his face, I'm sure. You know, obviously he understands here the players probably need a bit of time off, probably need a bit of a break after the week we've had, and he's given them 2 days. But that's the thing about Flick. He's not going to allow you anything. You know, you've earned 2 days, you've done well, you deserve the right to celebrate. But then you'll be back on Wednesday. And that is what I absolutely love about him here. He will keep the players grounded. He knows the job. It ain't done. Nowhere near here. There's plenty of games to come, plenty of big games too. And we need to be ready. We need to be prepared. And he will make sure these players are ready. They'll be back on Wednesday. And when they are back, it's back to work. We won't even talk. We won't even think about what happened before. It's all about the next game. And that will be Espanyol, of all people. But that is the great thing right now, because the good news is not even done there. We have more on the way. Let's talk about Araujo. Because honestly, guys, our backline at Barca right now, you've got to say, it's been incredible this season. Absolutely unbelievable. All 4 of them, they've established themselves as the chosen 4 in our defence. And it's going to be tough for anybody to dethrone them. You're going to have to play really well to get in that back line. Because can we just say, how good again was Inigo Martinez? How good yet again was he? Given at the start of the season, we didn't even know if he'd be here. We didn't even know if he'd stay at the club. Hansi Flick enforced that. He said, look, we need to get this guy registered. I love what I'm seeing from him. The club obliged, and we have never looked back. He was so impressive against Real Madrid. And what can you even say about Pau Cubarsí? 17 years old in a Clasico, just after facing Bayern, going head-to-head with some of the best forwards in the world. He didn't even blink. He was absolutely immense. And like I say, they're going to take some dethroning. These players in the backline, players who've proven themselves, it's not going to be easy to get into this team right now. But for sure, one of the most difficult areas for us to rotate in, to actually rest players and bring different players in, it is that back line. You need specialist players there for that high line to play in that way, and you need real quality there all across the defence. And that is why the only game that we've really lost with 11 men this season, it's Osasuna. And that was the day where we had to rotate and heavily rotate that back line. Gerard Martin started, of course, Sergi Dominguez as well, and we got caught out by it. So that is why we need that quality depth there in our back line. Now, we heard rumours before that Ronald Araujo, he may be ahead of schedule there in terms of his return. Because remember, before we thought that he'd be out until December there, maybe even longer than that at first, but he has been progressing really well. And right now in the media they're saying this week his training will intensify. He will really start to step up that recovery ahead of his return, because now the idea is that we could see him in November. We could see him there in the month ahead of us, which is absolutely amazing news, I've got to say, because when you're talking about Araujo, adding all of that quality, all of that pace, all of that strength, there's a reason Hansi Flick cannot wait for his return, and he may not have to wait much longer, and that is absolutely amazing, guys. But I do want to end the video right here today with one of my favourite photos from the Clasico. Check this out here. It's a tight call, it's a close decision, but yes, Hansi Flick has timed it to perfection. It's another offside to add to Real Madrid's tally. Thank you indeed, guys, for all of you here joining me today. And like I said before, thank you so much for all of the super thanks support. It's absolutely incredible. The feeling on the channel is immense. The joy that you're all feeling. I just love the happiness. I really do. We've waited for this, and now we're loving it. And that's the way that it should be. I hope that you all have an amazing day ahead. I hope you all have an amazing week, because Barca are back and we are thriving. I will catch all of you guys soon with lots more videos to come, of course. But until next time, as always, Visca, El Barça.